First Contact and Hidden Truths. The silver ships of the Nexari Empire emerged from hyperspace like metallic flowers blooming against the star-filled void. Admiral Vex Morvain stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Dawn, watching the blue marble of Earth grow larger on the viewing screen. His scaled hands gripped the command console as excitement coursed through his reptilian features. Another primitive world, he muttered to his second-in-command, Sub-Admiral Kree Voss. Our scouts reported basic radio signals and crude satellite technology. This should be simple. The Nexari had been exploring the galaxy for 3 centuries, making contact with dozens of species. Most welcomed the advanced technology and knowledge the Empire offered. Those who resisted were quickly overwhelmed by superior firepower. Earth, with its single star and lone inhabited planet, seemed like it would be no different. "Sir," called out Navigator Yix from her station, "we're detecting something unusual. These readings don't match our initial surveys." Vex moved to her console, his yellow eyes studying the data streams. "What kind of readings?" "Energy signatures, sir. Very advanced ones. And there are structures in orbit around their moon that weren't there 6 months ago." Before Vex could respond, the communication system crackled to life. A human voice, speaking in perfect Nexari, filled the bridge. "Nexari Fleet, this is Commander Zara Kelish of the Terran Space Defense Force. You are entering sovereign human territory. Please state your intentions." Stunned silence filled the bridge. Vex's jaw dropped open, revealing rows of sharp teeth. How do they know our language? How do they even know we exist? Sub-Admiral Voss was equally bewildered. "Sir, our stealth systems should have made us invisible to their primitive sensors." "Apparently not primitive enough," Vex replied grimly. He activated the communication array. "Human vessel, this is Admiral Vex Morvain of the Nexari Empire. We come in peace, seeking to establish diplomatic relations with your species." Commander Kelish's response came immediately. "Admiral, you're welcome to approach. We've been expecting you." The words sent a chill through every Nexari on the bridge. Expecting them? How was that possible? As the Nexari fleet moved closer to Earth, more surprises awaited. The planet was protected by a network of defense satellites that rivaled anything. In the Nexari arsenal, space stations orbited at strategic points, their designs incorporating technology the Empire had never seen before. Most shocking of all were the ships that rose to meet them, sleek vessels that moved with impossible grace and speed. Captain Rico Chun commanded the lead human vessel, the Prometheus. He was a stocky man with graying hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing. As his ship approached the Nexari flagship, he opened a channel to his crew. "Remember, people, we're not here to start a war. We're here to learn. These Nexari think they're the first aliens to find Earth, but we know better. Let's see what they can tell us about who came before." A first meeting took place aboard the Prometheus. Admiral Vex materialized in the transport bay, accompanied by a small diplomatic team. The humans who greeted them were nothing like what he had expected. They stood with confidence, their technology clearly more advanced than initial reports. Suggested. Commander Kelish was a tall woman with auburn hair and intelligent green eyes. She extended her hand in the human gesture of greeting. "Welcome aboard, Admiral. We have much to discuss." The conference room was impressive by any standard. Holographic displays showed star charts and technical specifications that made the Nexari visitors exchange nervous glances. Dr. Elena Vasquez, Earth's leading xenorchaeologist, was present along with Captain Shun and several other human officials. "We must admit," Admiral Vex began, "your technological level is far beyond what our scouts reported. How did you develop such advanced systems so quickly?" Commander Kelish smiled mysteriously. "That's an interesting question, Admiral. Perhaps we should ask you one first. In your travels across the galaxy, Have you encountered any evidence of ancient civilizations? Ones that might have existed thousands of years ago? The question caught Dex off guard. There are legends, of course. Stories of the predecessors, beings who once traveled the stars before recorded history began. But these are just myths. Dr. Vasquez leaned forward. What if I told you they weren't myths? What if I told you the predecessors were real, and they'd been to Earth before? The room fell silent. Sub-Admiral Voss was the first to speak. That's impossible. If such a civilization existed, we would have found evidence of them. Would you? Dr. Vasquez activated a holographic display showing archaeological sites from around Earth. These are excavations we've been conducting for the past decade. Look at the dating on these artifacts. The images showed metallic structures buried deep beneath the Earth's surface. The materials were unlike anything in known science, and the dating showed them to be over 50,000 years old. Asterisk. This is incredible, breathed Navigator Yix. But how did you know to look for these things? Captain Sean answered this time. Because we've been having visitors. Not recently, but throughout our history. They've been careful, subtle. Most of our people don't even know about them. But some of us have been watching, learning, preparing. Admiral Vex felt a growing unease. Preparing for what? For the day. They might return, Commander Kellish said softly. Or for the day, something else might come looking for what they left behind. As if summoned by her words, alarms began blaring throughout the ship. The holographic displays shifted to show sensor. Readings from deep space. Something massive was approaching the solar system, moving faster than anything the Nexari had ever seen. What is that? Admiral Vex demanded. Dr. Vasquez studied the readings, her face pale. It's them. The signal pattern matches the artifacts we've been studying. The predecessors are returning. But as the massive ship drew closer, its true nature became clear. This wasn't a vessel of the ancient civilization that had once visited Earth. The design was wrong. The energy signatures hostile and alien. This was something else entirely, something that had been hunting the predecessors across the galaxy for millennia. By the void, whispered Sub-Admiral Voss. It's a harvester ship. We've heard legends of them in the Outer Rim. They're said to consume entire civilizations. The ship was enormous, easily 10 times the size of the largest Nexari vessel. Its hull was dark and organic-looking, covered in what appeared to be living metal that pulsed with malevolent energy. As it entered the solar system, smaller ships began detaching from its surface like spores from a deadly fungus. How many? Captain Sean asked grimly. Over 1,000, reported the tactical officer. And they're heading straight for Earth. Asterisk Commander Kellish turned to Admiral Vex. Admiral, I'm going to ask you to make a choice. You can retreat with your fleet and report this to your empire, or you can stay and help us defend a world that might be the key to stopping these creatures. Vex looked at the tactical display, calculating odds. The harvester ship outgunned both fleets combined. Logic dictated retreat. But something in the human commander's eyes spoke of hidden strength, of secrets yet to be revealed. What aren't you telling us? He asked. Dr. Vasquez activated another display, this one showing energy readings from deep within the Earth. The predecessors didn't just visit our world, Admiral. They made it their fallback position. There are systems beneath our planet that have been dormant for 50,000 years, waiting for the right moment to activate. And you think that moment is now? I think, Commander Kellish said, watching the approaching enemy fleet, that we're about to find out. The question is whether you'll stand with us when we do. Asterisk the harvester vessels were accelerating, their intent clear. Earth had minutes, maybe hours, before the attack began. Deep beneath the planet's surface, ancient machinery stirred for the first time in millennia. In hidden chambers scattered across the globe, crystalline computers that had waited patiently. Through the rise and fall of human civilizations began to hum with renewed purpose. Admiral Vex made his decision. Signal the fleet. We stand with the humans. If there's even a chance that this world holds the key to stopping the harvesters, we have to try. As the two fleets moved into defensive positions around Earth, Dr. Vasquez was already working to unlock the secrets buried beneath the planet's surface. The artifacts they had discovered were more than just relics. They were keys to a vast network of defensive systems that spanned the globe. Asterisk, the energy signatures are strengthening, she reported. Whatever's down there, it's responding to the threat. Commander Kellish nodded grimly. Then let's hope our ancestors knew what they were doing when they built it. The first wave of harvester ships entered Earth's atmosphere, their dark hulls cutting through the sky like obsidian knives. The battle for Earth was about to begin, and with it, the revelation of humanity's true place in the galaxy. The Nexari had come expecting to find a primitive world, but they had discovered something far more significant, a planet that held the key to an ancient war that was about to resume. Asterisk. As the enemy ships descended toward the major cities of Earth, energy readings spiked around the globe. In the deepest ocean trenches, on the highest mountain peaks, and in the hearts of ancient forests, structures that had slept for millennia began to wake. The predecessors had indeed been to Earth, and they had left behind more than just artifacts. They had left behind a gift, waiting for the day when humanity would need it most. That day had finally come, the awakening power of the first harvester. Attack came without warning. Their dark ships descended over major cities, like a plague of mechanical locusts, energy beams lancing down to strike at population centers. But as the crimson death rays approached the Earth's surface, something extraordinary happened. Shimmering barriers of blue light erupted from the ground, deflecting the attacks harmlessly into space. Impossible, breathed Admiral Vex from the bridge of the Prometheus. Those shields are operating at energy levels that should be impossible to generate. Dr. Vasquez was frantically working at her console, her fingers flying over holographic displays showing energy readings from around the globe. The network is activating sector by sector. It's like the planet itself is waking up. Commander Kellish watched the tactical display with growing amazement. How long can those shields hold? Unknown, Dr. Vasquez replied. But the energy source appears to be drawing power from the planet's core itself. We could potentially maintain this level of protection for years. The harvester ships, frustrated by the unexpected resistance, began regrouping in orbit. There, massive mothership pulsed with angry red light as it analyzed the defensive systems that had just thwarted their first assault. Captain Chun opened a channel to the Nexari fleet. Admiral Vex, we need to coordinate our counterattack while they're still confused. Are your ships ready? More than ready, Vex replied, his earlier skepticism replaced by fierce determination. But I have to ask, how did you know this would happen? The answer came from an unexpected source. The communication system crackled to life, but this time, the voice was different, ancient, wise, and somehow familiar to every human who heard it. Children of Earth, the voice said, speaking in a language that was somehow understood by all present, regardless of their native tongue. The time of hiding is over. The Guardians have returned. Dr. Vasquez gasped. The signal is coming from the deep chambers. The predecessor artifacts are transmitting. Who are the Guardians? Admiral Vex asked, though part of him already suspected. The answer, the voice continued, and as it spoke, holographic images began appearing throughout both fleets. They showed a galaxy millions of years younger, filled with countless civilizations living in harmony. At the center of it all were beings that looked remarkably human, but with an aura of wisdom and power that spoke of eons of experience. We were the first to achieve true consciousness among the stars, the voice explained. We guided younger races protected them from the darkness that dwells in the void between galaxies. But the harvesters found us, as they always do. They consume not just worlds, but entire civilizations, leaving nothing but emptiness in their wake. Commander Kellish felt a strange stirring in her mind, as if memories that weren't her own were surfacing. "You're saying humans are descended from these guardians?" "Not descended," the voice corrected gently. "You are us. When the final battle against the harvesters was lost, we scattered our essence across the galaxy, seeding worlds with our genetic code. Earth was our greatest success. Here, we grew and learned and forgot our origins until the time came to remember. The revelation hit the humans like a physical blow. Captain Shun felt his worldview shifting fundamentally. That's why we advanced so quickly. That's why we were ready for contact with other species. We weren't developing technology, we were remembering it. The artifacts we found," Dr. Vasquez said, her voice filled with awe. "They weren't left by aliens. They were left by us. By what we once were." As understanding dawned, the systems buried beneath Earth began responding to human presence in ways that defied explanation. Technical officers throughout the human fleet reported that their ships were upgrading themselves, incorporating technologies that shouldn't have been possible. Weapons became more accurate, shields grew stronger, and engines ran with unprecedented efficiency. But the harvesters were not idle. Frustrated by their initial failure, they began adapting their attack patterns. The massive mothership extended thousands of tendrils that reached toward Earth like the legs of a cosmic spider. Each tendril was armed with planet-cracking weapons designed to overwhelm any defensive system. "They're going to try to break through the shields by sheer force," Captain Shun observed grimly. "Can the network handle that level of assault?" Dr. Vasquez shook her head. "The calculations are beyond my ability to predict. But the systems are asking for something more. They need human operators to reach full potential." "What do you mean?" Commander Kellish asked. "The network was designed to be operated by consciousness like ours. It needs human minds to interface with it directly. But the process ... It's dangerous. The operator would be linking their consciousness with systems that span an entire planet." Without hesitation, Commander Kellish stood up. "I'll do it." "Commander, no," Captain Shun protested. "We don't know what it might do to you." "We don't have a choice," she replied firmly. "If we don't activate the full network, everyone on Earth dies. And probably everyone in the galaxy eventually." Admiral Vex watched the exchange with growing respect for these humans. "Is there anything my people can do to help?" Dr. Vasquez considered this. "Actually, yes. The network recognizes the Nexari as allies. If your people can provide targeting data for our weapons, we can coordinate a counterattack while the shields are still holding dot as the harvester tendrils began their assault." Commander Kellish was transported to a hidden chamber deep beneath the Atlantic Ocean. The room was filled with crystalline structures that pulsed with soft light, and at the center stood a chair that seemed to be grown rather than built. The interface. Dr. Vasquez explained through the communication link. "Once you sit in that chair, you'll be connected to every defensive system on the planet. But Commander, you need to understand the risks. Previous operators have ... changed. They became something more than human, but also something less." Kellish looked at the chair with a mixture of fear and determination. "Will I still be me?" "I don't know," Dr. Vasquez admitted. "But I know that if you don't try, there won't be a you left to worry about." Above them, the harvester assault intensified. The planet's shields flickered under the massive bombardment, and several sections began to fail. Cities that had been protected just moments before found themselves under direct attack. Commander Kellish sat in the chair. The sensation was indescribable. Her consciousness expanded beyond her physical form, spreading across the planet like A web of pure thought. She could feel every human life, every blade of grass, every stone in the mountains. The network wasn't just a defensive system, it was a living extension of the planet itself. But more than that, she could feel the presence of the original guardians. They were still there, embedded in the network, waiting for their descendants to reclaim their heritage. Their knowledge flowed into her mind like a river of light, bringing with it the accumulated wisdom of 1,000,000 years. "I understand now," she whispered, her voice echoing through the chamber and across the communication networks of both fleets. The harvesters aren't just destroying civilizations. They're harvesting consciousness itself. They feed on the thoughts and dreams of entire species. How do we stop them? Admiral Vex asked. By showing them something they've never encountered before, Kelish replied, her voice now carrying harmonics that spoke of vast power. A civilization that refuses to be consumed. Asterisk, the shields around Earth suddenly blazed with renewed strength, but this time they weren't just defensive. Energy beams of incredible power lanced upward from the planet's surface, striking the harvester. Tendrils with surgical precision. Each beam was guided by the combined knowledge of the Guardians and the determination of humanity. The harvesters recoiled in shock. In 1,000,000 years of consuming civilizations, they had never encountered resistance like this. Their mothership began to retreat, but it was too late. The network had identified the source of their power, and Commander Kelish was already acting on that knowledge. "Their ship is alive," she announced to the fleets. "It's not just a machine, it's a creature that feeds on consciousness. But that means it can be killed." Working through the network, she began to coordinate an attack unlike anything ever attempted. The Nexari fleet provided targeting data, while human ships, now operating at efficiency levels that seemed impossible, began their assault. But the real attack came from the planet itself. Deep beneath the Earth's surface, weapons that had been dormant for millennia began to charge. They were planet killers, weapons designed to crack worlds and shatter moons. But the Guardians had found a different use for them. Instead of destruction, they channeled creation. The beams that erupted from Earth carried not just energy, but the essence of life itself. When the beams struck the Harvester mothership, something extraordinary happened. The living metal of its hull began to change, transformed by the concentrated essence of 1,000,000,000 years of Earth's E*.